After traveling across Asia, I thought I had seen it all, from Japan's neon skylines lighting up the night like a science fiction movie, to Singapore's futuristic order where everything feels perfectly efficient. I believed I had experienced the full spectrum of Asia's diversity and modernity. But then I landed in India, and nothing could have prepared me. Like many outsiders, I carried certain expectations, the usual cliches of chaos, overcrowded streets, and poverty often shown in the media. I imagined a country stuck between its past and its struggles. But what I encountered was something far more powerful, layered, and unexpected. India shocked me, not just with its sheer scale, but with its vibrancy. Imagine stepping into a place where ancient traditions live side by side with cutting-edge technology, where centuries-old temples stand just a few blocks away from high-tech hubs powering the global digital economy, where traffic feels like chaos until you realize it flows with its own unique rhythm, almost like a living organism. But beyond the sights and sounds, what struck me most was the people, their warmth, resilience, and ability to thrive amid contradictions. The hospitality, the creativity, and the everyday innovations were unlike anything I had experienced elsewhere in Asia. India wasn't just another stop on my journey. It was the country that forced me to rethink everything I thought I knew about progress, culture, and survival. So let me take you on this journey through Asia and explain why India was the one country that truly left me speechless. Traveling across Asia, setting the stage. Before arriving in India, I had already spent months exploring different corners of Asia. Each country had left me with powerful impressions, shaping my expectations of what the continent was all about. Take Japan, for example. It was like stepping into a world of efficiency and order. The trains ran so punctually you could set your watch by them. The people were unfailingly polite, and everything from the smallest tea shop to the busiest Shinkansen platform seemed to follow an invisible script of discipline. Japan was Asia at its most refined, a place where tradition blended seamlessly with technological progress. Then there was China. The sheer scale of it was overwhelming. Skyscrapers rose up like forests in cities that only a few decades ago were still developing. High-speed rail networks zipped me across vast distances at a pace I had never experienced before. China was fast, ambitious, and unapologetically modern, its growth visible in every glass tower and neon-lit skyline. Thailand offered something entirely different. A deep sense of spirituality intertwined with its tourism culture. Golden temples shimmered in the sun, monks walked barefoot collecting alms, and the warmth of Thai hospitality made me feel instantly at home. It was Asia's spiritual heart, but also a playground for travelers, where beaches, street food, and bustling night markets thrived side by side. Singapore, meanwhile, was in a class of its own. A tiny city-state, yet one of the cleanest, most futuristic places I had ever set foot in. Its skyline looked like something out of science fiction, with Marina Bay Sands towering like a spaceship and futuristic gardens glowing at night. Everything was efficient, spotless, and high-tech, proof that a small nation could achieve global greatness through planning and innovation. After experiencing these countries, I thought I had Asia figured out. I believed I had seen the order, the growth, the spirituality, and the future. But then came India, and India didn't just fit into the narrative, it rewrote it completely. India was not about fitting into categories or comparisons. It was something else entirely, a force of nature. A place that felt like Asia turned up to maximum volume, where everything I thought I knew was challenged, redefined, and magnified. First impressions of India. The moment I landed in India, I knew I was in for something different. It wasn't just arriving in another country. It was like stepping into another dimension of sensory overload. The first thing that hit me was the sheer intensity. The colors, Bright saris in every shade of the rainbow, painted trucks decorated like moving works of art, shop signs glowing in bold reds and yellows. Then came the smells, the mix of spices drifting from food stalls, incense wafting from temples, and yes, sometimes the raw, earthy smell of life in crowded streets. And the sounds, horns blaring in a kind of chaotic orchestra, street vendors shouting offers, Bollywood music playing in the background, and conversations happening all around me. It was overwhelming, but also electrifying. Then there was the traffic. At first glance, it looked like complete chaos. Cars, bikes, rickshaws, buses, and cows all sharing the same space. But after a while, I realized there was a hidden rhythm to it, almost like an unspoken understanding among millions of drivers. What looked like madness was actually a system of its own, fluid, flexible, and surprisingly functional. But the real shock came not from the sights or the traffic, but from the people. Complete strangers went out of their way to help me, guiding me when I looked lost, sharing stories over cups of chai, turning small interactions into genuine moments of connection. In India, conversations weren't just polite exchanges. They often blossomed into friendships. And then, of course, the sheer scale of it all. The markets stretched endlessly, filled with everything from spices to jewelry to tech gadgets. Cities like Delhi and Mumbai felt like entire worlds on their own, millions of people living, working, and dreaming side by side in an energy that never seemed to rest. It felt like Asia on steroids, everything bigger, louder, more intense, and more alive. Where other countries showed me aspects of Asia, India embodied all of it and then some. It wasn't just a destination, it was an experience that shook me to the core. The cultural shock, what truly shocked me about India wasn't just its scale or intensity, it was the depth of its culture. Imagine walking past a centuries-old temple with devotees offering prayers, and just a few minutes later, spotting a sleek tech office where young professionals code the future. In India, the ancient and the modern don't just coexist, they intertwine, creating a cultural mosaic unlike anywhere else. Rickshaws rattle down the same streets where electric cars glide silently, and skyscrapers rise next to monuments built hundreds of years ago. Then there's the diversity. Officially, India recognizes more than 22 languages, but in reality, there are hundreds of dialects and cultures. Traveling from north to south, east to west, feels like crossing into entirely different civilizations. Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, and Jainism all coexist within the same borders, often within the same neighborhoods. Festivals brought this diversity to life in the most spectacular way. I had the chance to witness Holi, the explosion of colors where strangers turned into friends with one splash of powder. Diwali lit up entire cities with candles and fireworks, creating a spectacle of light and joy. And it wasn't just Hindu festivals. Eid feasts, Christmas celebrations, and regional harvest festivals like Pongal and Baisakhi all added to the cultural kaleidoscope. Food was another revelation. Street food wasn't just a snack, it was a cultural adventure. From spicy chaat in Delhi to dosis in the south, from biryanis to sweets dripping in syrup, every bite told a story of history, migration, and creativity. It wasn't just eating, it was experiencing India through flavor. What shocked me most was the sheer depth of it all. In most countries, culture feels like an aspect of life. In India, culture is life. It's in the way people greet you, in the rhythms of festivals, in the food markets buzzing at midnight, and in the music that drifts from homes and temples alike. I thought I understood what culture meant. But in India, I realized culture isn't something you see, it's something you live. The modern India I didn't expect. Before arriving, I admit, I expected India to be behind in some ways. I imagined outdated infrastructure and slow development, but what I discovered shocked me. India today is one of the world's most exciting centers of innovation. Cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Gurugram have become global tech hubs. Startups are booming, with India now producing more unicorn companies than most countries in the world. Young entrepreneurs are building apps, platforms, and technologies that aren't just changing India, but shaping the global digital economy. Then there's the digital revolution. Nowhere else had I seen mobile payments used so widely and so seamlessly. UPI, India's instant digital payment system, made cash almost unnecessary. Street vendors selling fruit accepted QR codes, and rickshaw drivers preferred mobile transactions. It felt like stepping into the future, but in a way that was practical and accessible to everyone, from the wealthy to the working class. India's ambitions weren't just digital. In space, the country had made headlines with missions like Chandrayaan, its lunar exploration program, and was preparing for Gaganyaan, its first human spaceflight. These weren't symbolic achievements. They were real steps toward making India a global space power. Infrastructure was also transforming the landscape. New metro systems connected sprawling cities, expressways cut down travel times, and airports rivaled the best in Asia. Smart City initiatives showed how India was trying to manage its massive urban growth in creative, technology-driven ways. The shock came from realizing that India wasn't catching up. In many ways, it was leaping ahead. What I had expected to be a story of developing India turned out to be a story of leading India. This wasn't just survival, it was innovation on a scale that few outsiders truly understood. Contradictions that shocked me, but with all its vibrancy and innovation. India was also full of contradictions. And instead of making it weaker, these contradictions seemed to make it even more unique. Wealth and poverty coexisted everywhere I looked. Luxury malls filled with global brands stood just a short distance from crowded slums. Million-dollar apartments overlooked neighborhoods where families struggled with basic needs. It was jarring, but it was real, and somehow the society kept moving forward despite these extremes. Urban modernity clashed with rural struggles. In the cities, people zipped around with the latest smartphones and used advanced apps for everything. But in the villages, life still moved to the rhythm of agriculture, traditions, and close-knit communities. India lived in 2 centuries at once, and yet both worlds felt authentically Indian. Chaos and harmony also blended in surprising ways. From the outside, the traffic seemed insane, but families gathering for meals, communities celebrating festivals, and people finding joy amid challenges showed me a harmony that wasn't about silence or order. It was about togetherness. And then there was freedom and tradition. I met women leading tech companies, working in parliament, and flying planes. At the same time, I saw families still guided by centuries-old customs. India was a place where modern empowerment and ancient tradition coexisted, sometimes clashing, but often enriching one another. What shocked me most was that these contradictions didn't tear the country apart. They held it together, creating a complexity that made India unlike anywhere else I had ever seen. India wasn't simple. It wasn't something you could summarize in a sentence or a headline. It was messy, vibrant, contradictory, and alive. And it was these very contradictions that made it unforgettable. The people factor. If there's one thing that truly defines India beyond its monuments, temples, or tech hubs, it's the people. They are the heartbeat of the nation, and experiencing their warmth was the most unforgettable part of my journey. India has a saying, Atithi Devo Bhava, which translates to the guest as God, and it's not just a phrase, it's a lived reality. From big cities to small villages, I found myself welcomed with open arms. Families I had never met before invited me into their homes, offered me chai, and insisted I share a meal. What struck me wasn't just the hospitality itself, but the sincerity behind it. You don't feel like a stranger in India for long. You quickly become part of the family. Then there's the resilience. Walking through bustling markets or crowded train stations, I saw daily workers carrying enormous loads, tuk-tuk drivers hustling for passengers, and students studying late into the night with hopes of changing their lives. Entrepreneurs were everywhere, turning small shops into booming businesses or creating startups from scratch. There was a grit and determination in ordinary Indians that made me realize progress here isn't measured only in numbers, but in human spirit. Conversations revealed even more. Whether chatting with a chai seller or a tech worker in Bengaluru, I encountered curiosity, humor, and optimism. Indians love to debate, question, and share stories. They'll make you laugh with witty jokes one moment, then dive into deep philosophical questions the next. The openness of these exchanges showed me how much pride people carry for their culture and how much hope they hold for their future. And it's not just within India's borders. The Indian diaspora spread across the US, UK, Middle East, Africa, and beyond plays a major role globally. Yet, no matter how far they travel, there's always a strong connection back to India. That pride, that identity, is something you feel in every conversation. In the end, the biggest shock wasn't what India looked like, but the people themselves, who turned every chaotic street and every unexpected twist into something warm, human, and unforgettable. Lessons India taught me. Traveling through India didn't just surprise me. It changed the way I think about progress, culture, and life itself. First, India redefined what progress means. In other countries, progress was skyscrapers, infrastructure, and wealth. In India, yes, those things exist, but real progress is also measured in resilience, in how people adapt, survive, and thrive despite challenges. I saw a kind of strength in the everyday worker, the street vendor, the student that made me rethink how success is defined. Then there's the importance of diversity. India isn't one culture, one religion, or one language. It's 100 identities coexisting within the same borders. And instead of collapsing under the weight of differences, India somehow transforms them into strength. That diversity became one of its greatest teachers for me. That harmony docenti means sameness. It means celebrating differences. Spirituality also left its mark. India moves at a dizzying pace, but it also offers moments of calm. Watching morning prayers along the Ganges or sitting quietly in a temple, I learned the value of slowing down in a fast-paced world. Spirituality in India isn't locked away in religious spaces. It flows into everyday life, balancing chaos with calm. And finally, India showed me its global role. It is at once ancient, carrying millennia of wisdom, and futuristic, leading in tech, space, and innovation. Few countries manage to be rooted in their past while reaching so boldly into the future. The lesson: India isn't just another country on the map. It is a teacher, one that challenges assumptions and offers lessons you can carry with you long after you leave. Lessons and reflections looking back, India shocked me not because it was chaotic or crowded, but because it challenged every assumption I had. I expected poverty, but I found resilience. I expected outdated systems, but I found cutting-edge innovation. I expected one culture, but I found 1,000 voices living together. Traveling across Asia had shown me incredible things: Japan's order, China's scale, Thailand's hospitality, Singapore's futuristic polish. But none of them prepared me for what India revealed, life itself in its rawest, richest, and most colorful form. India isn't just another Asian country. It's a civilization with unmatched depth. It's a place where contradictions coexist, where chaos produces harmony, and where tradition fuels innovation. More than anything, India showed me that progress is not only about wealth or skyscrapers. It's about people, spirit, and the ability to adapt and thrive. In the end, the real message is this: India isn't a place you simply visit. It's a place that transforms you. Closing, call to action. So, after months of traveling across Asia, from the neon skylines of Japan to the spotless streets of Singapore, I thought I had seen it all. But India proved me wrong. It shocked me, not just with its culture, its contradictions, or its scale, but with its humanity. If there's one lesson I'm taking away, it's this: you don't truly understand Asia until you've experienced India. It's not a country that fits neatly into categories or comparisons. It's a place that forces you to feel, to question, and to grow. Now, I want to hear from you. What shocked you most about India when you visited? Or what do you think would shock you if you went? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with friends. There's so much more to explore together. Stay tuned for the next video, Top 10 Things That Shock Every Traveler in India, because trust me, the story of India is far from over.